Big Ben stopped. Not for repairs, not for ceremony, because snow literally jammed the clock hands and froze one of Britain's most iconic symbols in place. But that wasn't even the worst part of 1968. Days later, winds hit Scotland at over 100 miles per hour, ripping roofs clean off houses, dropping chimneys through bedrooms where families slept, and killing 20 people in a single afternoon. This wasn't some medieval disaster. This was modern Britain, and nobody saw it coming. January 1968. Britain wakes up to snow. Not the gentle Christmas card kind, the kind that doesn't stop. For days, it just keeps falling. Southern England, the Midlands, places that usually get a bit of slush and carry on, suddenly can't move. Roads vanish under drifts taller than cars. Trains stop running. Entire villages get cut off from the outside world. People are literally trapped in their homes watching the snow pile higher against their windows, wondering when it'll end. London grinds to a halt. Buses abandoned in the street, the underground struggles. And then, on January 5th, someone looks up at Big Ben and notices the clock isn't moving. The hands are stuck at 3:45. Engineers figure out that snow has gotten into the mechanism and frozen solid. The most famous clock in Britain, maybe the world, has been knocked out by weather. It's almost funny until you realize what it represents. If Big Ben can't handle this, what chance does the rest of the country have? People start running out of food. Milk deliveries stop. Bread deliveries stop. Some communities organize search parties just to check on elderly neighbors. The blizzard turns Britain into something out of a disaster film, except this is real and there's no dramatic rescue coming. And here's something you need to understand about weather forecasting in 1968. It was basically guesswork with a thermometer. No satellites, no supercomputers, just some bloke with a barometer trying to predict if a storm might possibly, maybe, head your way. So while everyone's focused on digging out from the snow, obsessing over milk shortages and frozen pipes, something much worse is building out in the Atlantic, and nobody has a clue it's coming. January 15th, 1968, a Monday. Scotland wakes up to a normal winter day. Cold, sure, but nothing unusual. Weather reports mention a storm in the Atlantic, but those usually head toward Iceland or Norway. No big deal. Except this storm doesn't follow the rules. It intensifies faster than anything forecasters had seen, and then, without warning, it turns straight towards Scotland. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, it's too late to do anything but hold on. Early afternoon, the wind starts picking up. Nothing alarming at first. Then it gets stronger, and then it becomes something else entirely. Imagine standing outside and the wind is so powerful you physically cannot move forward. That's 60 miles per hour. Now double it. That's what hit Glasgow and central Scotland that afternoon. Roofs don't just get damaged, they get ripped completely off buildings and thrown through the air like paper. A family in Clarkston watches their entire roof peel away in seconds, exposing their home to the screaming wind and rain. No warning, just suddenly there's sky where ceiling used to be. Chimneys are the real killers. These aren't modern chimneys, these are Victorian-era brick structures, heavy and tall. And when wind hits them at over 100 miles per hour, they come crashing down, straight through houses. One family in Glasgow is sitting in their living room when their chimney collapses through the roof, through the first floor, and into their home. They survive by pure luck. Not everyone is that lucky. 20 people died during the storm itself. Some are hit by flying debris. Some are crushed when buildings collapse. Some are killed when trees snap like toothpicks and fall on cars, on houses, on people just trying to get home. The Clyde shipyards, where massive ships are built, look like a war zone. Cranes topple, ships break free from their moorings and smash into each other. One vessel sinks at the dock. The noise is incredible. Metal screaming, wind howling, sirens that nobody can hear over the chaos. Power lines snap across the city. Suddenly, tens of thousands of homes go dark, in the middle of a storm that's tearing buildings apart. People are hiding in their homes, in the dark, listening to their houses groan and crack around them, genuinely not knowing if they'll survive the next hour. And here's something wild that shows just how disconnected Britain was at the time. While this is happening, while Glasgow is being torn apart, the rest of Britain barely knows about it. Television coverage is limited. Most of England is still dealing with snow, worried about their frozen pipes and impassable roads. It takes days before the full scale of what happened in Scotland becomes clear to the rest of the country. Days. Imagine your entire city being destroyed, and the nation just doesn't notice. And then there are the forests. The Highlands have forests that have stood for centuries. The storm flattens them. Entire hillsides of trees just gone, like someone ran a giant lawnmower across Scotland. The devastation is visible from miles away. January 16th. The storm passes. Dawn breaks over Scotland and people emerge to find their world has been rearranged. Over 70,000 homes are damaged. 70,000. Some just need roof repairs. Others are completely uninhabitable. Hundreds of families are suddenly homeless in the middle of winter with nowhere to go. And here's where it gets worse. Remember those 20 people who died during the storm? In the weeks that follow, dozens more die. Why? Because they're trying to fix their homes themselves, climbing on damaged roofs in freezing conditions, clearing debris without proper equipment, heart attacks from the stress and physical labor, accidents that happen because people are desperate to make their homes livable again. The government response is, to put it mildly, disappointing. Some emergency funds are released, some temporary housing is arranged, but it's not enough, not even close. Communities have to figure this out themselves. And they do. Glasgow is a working-class city full of people who know how to get things done. Neighbors help neighbors. Builders work overtime. Donations pour in from local communities. It's not official government disaster relief. It's just people refusing to let their neighbors suffer. But the scale is overwhelming. Entire streets of houses are missing roofs. Schools are damaged. Churches are destroyed. The cleanup takes months. Some families don't get back into their homes until summer. The economic cost is massive. Insurance companies nearly collapse trying to pay out claims. Many policies don't even cover storm damage to this extent because nobody thought it was possible. Families fight for years to get compensation for homes that were destroyed. And through all of this, the national press barely covers it. If you were in England in early 1968, you might not even know this happened. Want to know something ironic? The 1968 Glasgow storm is still, to this day, Scotland's deadliest and most destructive natural disaster on record, and most people outside Scotland have never heard of it. Even some people inside Scotland don't know the full story. It's like it's been erased from history. Scotland's worst natural disaster, barely a footnote in London newspapers, forgotten by a nation that was too busy worrying about snow in the south to notice that an entire region had been devastated. But here's what that storm actually did accomplish. It terrified the people who needed to be terrified. Weather forecasters realized they'd been working blind. The storm had intensified and changed direction with almost no warning because they simply didn't have the tools to track it properly. Within a few years, Britain massively upgraded its weather monitoring systems. Satellites, better radar, computer models. The Met Office became one of the best weather services in the world, largely because of what happened in 1968. Building regulations changed. All those Victorian chimneys that came crashing through houses. New rules about structural integrity, about how buildings needed to withstand extreme weather. The building codes were rewritten with January 15th in mind. Urban planning changed too. Glasgow had thousands of people living in old tenement buildings that weren't fit for purpose even before the storm. After 1968, there was a massive push to demolish the worst housing and build new estates. Not always done well, but the intention was there. And communities learned something important. They learned they couldn't rely on the government to save them. They needed to be ready to save themselves. The winter of 1967-68 became a reference point. When weather forecasters in Britain talk about extreme events, they compare them to January 1968. When engineers design buildings to withstand storms, they calculate based on wind speeds from January 1968. It became the standard by which everything else is measured. But here's what's really haunting about it. Britain got lucky. The storm hit during the day, when most people were awake and could react. It hit working-class areas where houses were old and vulnerable, but where people were tough and organized. It could have been so much worse. There's actually been some debate about whether the 1968 storm should be classified as a hurricane. The wind speeds were there, the pressure was there, but because it happened over land in Britain, it doesn't officially count. Bit of a technicality when your roof is flying down the street though. Either way, the classification doesn't matter to the people who lived through it. And climate scientists today will tell you something terrifying. Storms like that are becoming more common. The jet stream is changing. Weather patterns are destabilizing. What happened in 1968 was a freak event, but freak events are starting to happen more often. So what's the actual takeaway from all this? What does Britain's deadliest winter storm really teach us? It's not about the cold. Cold is expected in winter. It's not even about the snow, as bad as that was. It's about violence. Nature's capacity for sudden, overwhelming violence, even in a place as mild and predictable as Britain. Modern countries like to think they're safe. We have technology, infrastructure, emergency services. We build our cities and assume they'll stand up to whatever comes. And then something like January 15th, 1968 happens, and you realize how fragile all of it really is. 20 people dead in an afternoon, thousands of homes destroyed, an entire city brought to its knees, and the rest of the country barely noticed because they were dealing with their own weather problems. The families who lived through it never forgot. There are people in Glasgow today, in their 60s and 70s, who still remember the sound of that wind, the feeling of their house shaking, the fear that the walls might not hold. Some of them still get anxious when storms are forecast. But they rebuilt. Of course they rebuilt. That's what people do. They cleared the rubble, fixed the roofs, buried the dead, and got on with life. Because what else can you do? The 1968 storm proved that Britain wasn't as safe or stable as everyone thought. It exposed the gaps in disaster preparedness, in weather forecasting, in government response. And it showed that when everything falls apart, communities have to save themselves. But here's the question nobody wants to ask. If a storm like that hit Britain today, would we be ready? We have better forecasting, sure, better building codes, better emergency response. But we also have aging infrastructure, underfunded services, and cities more crowded than ever. The Met Office keeps records of wind speeds across Britain. Every monitoring station, every weather event, all tracked and compared. And then those records, January 15th, 1968, still stands out, still holds records that haven't been broken. Which means the worst storm in modern British history hit over 50 years ago. And statistically speaking, we're overdue for another one. The climate is changing faster than anyone predicted. Extreme weather is becoming the norm. So when the next one comes, and it will come, the real question is whether we've actually learned anything, or whether we're still just as vulnerable as those families in Glasgow who watched their roofs fly away on a Monday afternoon in 1968 and realized too late that being modern doesn't mean being safe. The storm is always building, somewhere out in the Atlantic. And next time, it might not just be Scotland. It could be anywhere. Your city, your street, your